Hey folks, Jerry here this morning, sitting right outside a big wide area that I really don't want to be sitting at, really. Like I'm heading into Los Angeles, California to take my break. It was a big accident here last night, and I was kind of forced to take my break at a big wide spot along with some other truckers that were here. And so this is where I spent the night last night. And somebody asked me the other day, he said, Jerry, you don't never talk about anything in the news and stuff. You don't never talk about things on between the Democrats and the Republicans anymore. I don't have friendship with this world anymore, folks. Friendship with this world is enmity with God. If you take a look at the building structure and stuff, going from Sacramento, California down to Los Angeles, you will see that, California is a very well-constructed state. It really is. They've constructed it good. They've constructed it well. And even though this is a liberal state, but you may say, well, which one works the best, Jerry, a Democrat or a conservative state, and how they do things? Well, both of them work, folks, in the devil's matrix. Okay? But they don't work to your benefit, they work to Satan's benefit, okay? And those who mean to serve him. That's what it actually is. And so either one of them will work in his matrix, but I don't have enmity with it. The big main reason why that I'm making this video today is not about that, guys. It's to warn you about 9/11 this upcoming year. I know we've had plenty of them pass since the buildings came down and everything else, but this year is a little bit different in terms of some numbers that I have kind of put together, and I want to show you some numbers that really make this a very prophetic year for something maybe to happen. And so let's take a look at a little bit of that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So let's read this just for a minute, folks. However, the introduction of the new calendar, talking about the Gregorian to the Julian calendar, was changed on April 5th, 1753, to avoid losing 11 days of tax revenue. And it talks about the leap year and all that, from the Julian to the Gregorian calendar. And let me tell you this, folks. That 11 days that was taken off of that calendar, it was just flat out wrong, guys. Because this astrograph calendar, it was made by God through precise timing and through precise astrological alignments and stuff. Now, didn't Daniel tell you in his book that Satan would try to change times and laws in the end here? And he did that right there. That was not to be done, folks. And that one change explains a whole lot of things when it comes to 9/11 that none of these other YouTubers and none of these other conspiracy theorists have ever figured out, but Jerry's going to show it to you today. If you will take September the 11th and add 11 days to it to the end of it, you will see that that is actually September the 23rd, guys. And that is the very first part of the fall equinox. And you can see the symbol of the scales here for Libra. And that symbol of the scales is also the symbol of the tribe of Dan. The tribe of the Danites, which have been removed from the Bible of 144,000, and there's a reason for that now, okay? But that explains why that September the 11th occurred, the bad thing with the buildings. That is the reason why. September the 11th is actually September the 23rd. Okay? It is. And so the very first fall equinox, the birth of Lucifer, which is the first day of the fall equinox, was the reason why that September the 11th occurred the way that it did. My truck has an automatic shut off on it here. Let me crank it back up again. But that's, yeah. It was the first day of the fall equinox. Had nothing whatsoever to do with God's and anything about Jesus Christ's birthday, none of that stuff. It didn't have anything to do with any of that, folks. Now, let's take a look at a few other things this year that also kind of concerns me. And let's look at it here. Just to show you that everything is a celebration date ritual, folks, the very first pokey that was give out, it was on December the 14th, okay? That's the very first pokey that they give out. Well, if you take a look, if you add 11 days to that, that falls on December the 25th. And December the 25th, for those who are in the know, folks, is the birth date of Baal, the sun god. It is not the birthday of Jesus Christ, folks. And they call it Christ Mass. Christ Mass means the death of Christ. It doesn't mean life of Christ. When you have Mass as in Christ Mass, it's the death of Christ. Our minds are so broken, folks. They broke our minds. They've not broke mine. I woke up. Let's take a look at another here. The big astrological shift, guys. You can see right here. It took place on December the 19th. And if you add 11 days to December the 19th, you will get December the 31st. That astrological alignment was supposed to have coincided, not with December the 19th. It was supposed to have coincided with the very first part of the year, because that's how God made that. That astrological alignment was supposed to have ushered in the new year. So when you go to adding 11 days back in, you'll start seeing a lot of things start making sense in terms of a lot of things that are ritual dates for these people this time of the year, okay? This is 2021, and this Agenda 21, which is a sustainable development. Now, sustainable development, that isn't a thing in the world but a fancy word for depopulating the earth, guys. And 2021 matches up to Agenda 21. That number matches for sure, okay? So that's one thing that's got me concerned this year. Now remember, you got September the 11th. It's actually September the 23rd. You got this pokey thing going on this year too, guys, that we know is a bunch of crap. It's all fake. There's nothing to it. I'll show you something else that's very, very amazing too about this. Folks, Aleister Crowley, his birth date is October the 12th. And if you will see, if you count the 12th, or to the end of the 22nd, you will see that actually Aleister Crowley was born right around the very end of the Libra constellation. And you know that Satan, he loves to be just like the Most High. So when Jesus says that I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, well, in the constellation of Libra, you have Satan portraying his birth date and Aleister Crowley's birth date as the Alpha and the Omega of Libra. And remember, too, those scales are the scales of the tribe of Dan. That's the symbol, folks. Libra is a very, very, very prophetic time every year for the Satanists. They really love doing things during this time of year. And where all this stuff is changing and going on this year, I'm giving you a warning, guys, that there's a lot of things this year that really doesn't look good when it comes to 9/11. And another thing, too, you might want to check into. There's a concept of 923, which means 923, the putting back together again of Osiris. I know that Shaking My Head Productions, they done a video on that here recently of 923. And I have actually a predictive programming video that I'm going to do on the Nebraska shooting at the Sonic that occurred this past year, where a man was supposed to have, done some people in at a Sonic that involved some pow-pows. I don't want to say it because of the algorithms. I'm not talking about the pow-pows like you pull a trigger with. I'm talking about a pow-pow like you light a fuse with. Supposed to have been at the Sonic and supposed to have been in a U-Haul both. And every bit of this was supposed to have started at 9:23 at night. And there is some of those numbers, folks, on that entire article that matches up, that may be the keys to some things that may go on here for 9/11. And so just stay tuned, and I'm going to kind of match up some of that stuff. But thank you for seeing my video this morning. You can see all this stuff matches up, guys. They said they changed the Gregorian calendar, the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, not to lose days of revenue. What a cheap, stupid excuse, guys, for changing God's laws. That is not to be changed like that, but they changed it for more than just the revenue. They changed it so that you wouldn't be able to figure out these dates. And these dates do all match up. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. September the 11th is actually September the 23rd, the beginning of the fall equinox. Stay tuned and we'll take a look at that Nebraska shooting here a little later this weekend perhaps, okay? All right.